Software is classified into two categories. One is system software and one is application software. Once any operating system has been installed, so only then we are going to install different application software. As a computer is a machine, it cannot understand any other language, so it understands only machine level language or only a few language. Those languages are called as computer language. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Students, let us start our discussion with the Unit 2 and Chapter 1, that is Anatomy of Computers. In this session, we are going to talk about software, definition of software, types of software, operating system, and functions of operating systems, and language translator. These are the topics to be covered in this session. Let us start with the basic definition of a computer system. And here, as we have seen, a computer system has three components, that is hardware, software, and users. And you know the definition of hardware. What is hardware? Hardware is nothing but the physical components of a computer, and those we can touch and feel, and it is nothing but the interconnection for the purpose of storing and executing program. So this is the physical component. And what is a software? As we have learned the definition already, it is a set of programs, and it is a set of programs or set of procedures, algorithms, and documents connected with the operation of the data processing system. Means data processing unit, that is nothing but computer. So this is a software, is nothing but a computer programs. And if you talk about programs, it may be a combination of procedures, algorithms, and so on. This is software. Next component is, let us say, types of software. So here basically software is classified into two categories. One is system software and one is application software. Now let us say, what about the system software? So system software, already we have learned the definition in our previous chapter. So it is a software which has been developed for the proper functioning of computer system. So here these programs generally written at the machine level instruction, using instructions for addressing various registers of the CPU. So see, this is the software has been developed for in connection with the hardware part of CPU. So, and thus the system software is hardware dependent and not portable. So what is the meaning of hardware dependent? And there will be separate one software or one application only for one particular hardware, and this is, it cannot be portable. That means we cannot use the same software for one hardware to some other hardware in connection with respect to the physical component of computer system. And I/O operations or input and output operations are generally performed by system software. What is input and output operations? Now we know what is input. I mean, the data we feed into the computer, that is through input devices, that is input, that is an operation. And output operation is nothing but to display the result through output devices like monitor and printer. And all these are carried out or taken care of by the system software. And it provides a convenient environment for program development and execution. So programming languages like assembly level languages, C or C++, and these are different languages, are used to develop system software. And system software provides a platform or environment for development of different applications programs. So that is system software. And the system softwares can be developed by using languages like assembly level languages, C or C++, and Visual C++, and so on. And system software is a collection of system programs to perform common tasks. So we can say that it is a collection of program, a system program. So it is going to address the different hardware component of CPU or computer system. So this is system software. Now in the next slide, this is application software, and what you have seen the definition already, it is a software which has been developed for one particular application. Now let us see the definition again. So it consists of user application packages, so and such as payroll, inventory system, financial accounting packages, and so on, generally written in high level language. So what is application software? Which is software which has been developed for one particular application. Now look at the example here. Payroll is one software, and we are using this only for accounting package. It is for the purpose of accounting, to find the salaries of different employees in any organization. And this inventory system, this is another type of software. And again, financial accounting, you can talk about Tally is a software, it's an accounting package. So we are using the Tally software for the accounting needs. So that is the meaning of application software. It has been developed for one particular applications. And generally, these softwares are written by using high-level languages. Now, examples as we have seen already, MS Office. If we talk about MS Office, inside that, under that we have MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint. All these are examples of application software. And other than that, we have OpenOffice, Oracle, Sybase. All are different examples for application software. Now let us move on to next slide. Next one is, we see the system software and their types. Types of system software. And basically there are three types. One is operating system, language translator, and utility software or utilities. These are all different types of system software. Now let us see the first one. What is operating system? So as we have seen the definition already, so operating system is nothing but is an interface between the user and the computer, or a user and the computer hardware. So this is how diagrammatically, schematically we represent like this. Now if you look at the diagram here, first inside this we have computer hardware. This is inside this, and over it we have system software. This is the system software, and they are operating system, utilities, and it can be language translators. And over it, on top of it, we have application software. So by looking at the diagram, we can make out the system software. Here I'm talking about operating system. See, it is an interface or connecting, is going to connect these two layers or these two parts. For example, application software, as well as this is the hardware. So it acts as an interface between the hardware and the user, or hardware and application software, application programs. And now we can see the example of application software, system software, and computer hardware. So this is how we represent an operating system. And actually, this is the base of computer system. See, once any operating system has been installed, so only then we are going to install different application software. Now let us see the definition of this once again. What is the operating system? It is a set of programs or modules which provides an interface between the user and the computer resources. If I say resources, it is a hardware resources like processor, memory, I/O devices, and so on. So it is an interface between. So what is the function of it? Is going to manage these resources, resolve the conflicts, and tries to optimize the performance of the system. So another responsibility of operating system is that is going to optimize the performance of the computer. So this is an operating system. Now again about operating system. So the user communicate with the computer through operating system commands and program instructions. That is why we say it's an interface between the user and the computer. So we are going to work with or communicate, and we are going to communicate with the computer through the commands of operating system or system software. And it plays important role in loading the program, from the disk into memory and displaying messages, translating programs, and in outputting the results. These are all responsibilities of an operating system. An example of operating systems, as you may be knowing that Unix operating system and OS2 operating system 2, Linux, and Solaris from Sun Microsystems, and all MS-DOS. All these are examples for operating system. Now, if we talk about a language, computer language. So, computer language is a language which can be understandable by the computer. So, computer language is a language which are understandable by the computer. Such a language is called a programming language or computer language. Actually, what's the meaning of language? In general, we say language is a media of communication. So, we are going to interact with the computer through a language, that is computer language. As a computer is a machine, it cannot understand any other language, so it understands only machine level language or only a few language. Those languages are called as computer language. A computer language is a language which can be understandable by a computer. Next one is using programming languages. A user can instruct the computer what it should do. So this is again, as we said, it depends on the instruction by the user. It depends on the program. So actually, what is instruction? Instructions are nothing but is a command. So we have to instruct computer as per our requirement for a specific task to complete a particular work. So programming language is a set of rules called syntax, which the user has to follow to instruct the computer what operations are to be performed. So, as in general, if you talk about any language, you take example like our English language or regional languages like Kannada and Tamil, etc. So, every language has its own alphabets and has its own syntax and rules. So, similarly, even in computer language, so if we want to communicate with the computers, we have to learn a language which computer can understand. So accordingly, each and every language, even a programming language, the computer language has its own rules. It's called syntax. And if you want to learn that particular language, or we have to instruct the computer through the language and with the instructions by following different rules and syntax of that particular language. So this is a computer language. Now, if you talk about computer language, there are three categories of computer languages. One is machine level language, assembly level language, and high level language. These are three different types of computer languages. Now, let us see one by one. So, first one is machine level language. What is a machine level language? So it is the only language of the system, and these are the sequence of machine instructions. Actually, this is a machine level language, is the only language computer can understand. So all instructions or the user has to follow the same rules and syntax of the particular machine level language. So even today, computer can understand only machine level language. So what is a machine level language? It's also called as a language of the systems, and these instructions are externally represented by using sequence of zeros and one. So here, if you talk about machine level language, here we have two binary numbers, zeros and 1. So this language is nothing but we are writing instructions in machine level language by using zeros and 1 and with different combinations of zeros and 1 that forms an instruction in machine level language. Accordingly, and these instructions are zeros and 1 stored internally as a sequence of voltage levels high or low in primary memory. So this zeros and 1 are binary numbers, zeros and 1, and we have to understand that with the voltage level, one is high, one is low. This is how the computer, this is the electronic signals which work based on this voltage levels 0 or 1 or high or low. And this machine level language, if you look at this, it is very difficult to program. and it's difficult to debug. And in the program written in machine level language, it will be very lengthy because it contains only the sequence of zeros and one, or the combination of zeros and one. So first of all, program will be very lengthy, and programming is very difficult because the user or the programmer has to remember all the codes of different commands or different characters, symbols, and so on. So because we are human beings, we have limited capacity of our brain. It is very difficult for us to remember all the codes of all the characters available in machine level language. That is the reason it is very difficult to learn, even difficult to remember, so very difficult to program. And not only that, if you look at debugging, what is debugging? It is we have to check our program for errors, and have correcting those errors or mistakes in the programs are called debugging. So it is also difficult task or tedious job, and it requires a lot of experience and knowledge about the internal architecture of the system. As machine level language, it works on the hardware part of computer. So the user or the programmer must have very good knowledge about the system or hardware architecture of the computer system, and he must be a experienced person to write a program in machine level language. So this is the characteristics of machine level language. Now look at the example. See, this is an example for machine level instructions, and this is to load the data. So this is the one instructions. It indicates to load the data, and this is to add the content. Suppose if there are two variables or two numbers to be added, these are the commands to add two numbers. Similarly, this is to store the result, and this is to stop execution. See, these are all different levels or different commands, and the user must remember all the codes for different operations with machine level language. Now, what are advantages of machine level languages? And these instructions can be directly typed and executed. No compilation or translation is required. So, because computers can understand only machine level language, so any instructions given through machine level language, so directly it works with the computer hardware, or computer can understand these languages directly, and we need not to translate this into something else, like by using compiler or interpreter. So here no translation is required, as the computer can understand only machine level language. And what are the drawbacks of this? Disadvantage of the machine level language are these languages are machine dependent and difficult to program, modify, and debug. This is the point what you have seen in a previous slide. So programming is difficult, modification and debugging is difficult in machine level language. And one more point is that this is machine dependent. So what is the meaning of machine dependent? The meaning here is that the programs written in one computer, so it works only in that particular computer. So suppose the same program we cannot run or execute on some other computer. That is the meaning of machine dependent. So the programs in machine level language are machine dependent programs. That is the main drawback of this machine level language. Now let us move on to next slide. Next one is assembly languages. So it is a symbolic language in which the mnemonics are used to code operations and characters are used for addressing. So this is slightly better as compared to machine level language. So because it is a language of codes, we say it is a language of codes, and these codes are called mnemonics. So this is the language of mnemonics or codes. So it is better as compared to machine level language. And here the user has to remember only the codes rather than remembering all the sequence of zeros and one for different operations in machine level language. So, and the new programming language which uses symbolic instructions called as assembly level languages. And here assembly level languages which uses codes are known as or referred as mnemonics, and while instructing computers. And these symbolic instructions codes of machine level language are referred as mnemonics. So this is assembly level language. Now let us see the example for that. See, we are using add. This is the code for addition, and SUB, it may be SUB, and STA for storing value in accumulator, halt it for stop execution. See, these are all better as compared to previous machine level language. Here add is a mnemonic, SUB, STA and halt. These are called as mnemonics. Next one is the advantages. Easy to remember because it is only course has to remember, and easy to understand and write assembly level program, and easy to modify, debug the assembly level programs. As compared to machine level language, these processes are very easier. Next one is disadvantages. The main drawback is that machine dependent and takes longer to code. Again, assembly languages are machine dependent and program will be very lengthy. Drawback is the program will be very lengthy, and again is a machine dependent. Means the programs written in assembly level language for one computer, so same program cannot run on different computers. That is the meaning of machine dependent. Now let us move on to next slide. So next we will talk about high level languages. What are high level languages? These languages are English like languages and are machine independent. These are the main advantages of high level language. First point is machine independent. So those two level languages, machine level language and assembly level languages, are machine dependent, and high level language is machine independent. It means that so the programs written in one computer, so same program can execute or run on different computers with or without any changes. That is the definition of machine independent. And these high level languages are English like languages. So it is not English language. It is similar to English because nowadays we are familiar with the English language. So all alphabets, everything we are using in English language. So similar alphabets can be used, characters can be used in high level language. So because of that, it is easy to learn and understand. And examples for high level languages are BASIC, COBOL, Fortran, Pascal, C, C++, and Java. These are all examples for high level languages. Now again, another points. Easy to write the program using high level language. HLL stands for high level language. It does not require the knowledge of internal architecture of the computer. So if we talk about machine level language, the user or the programmer must be aware of architecture of the system, but here is not required. And easy to debug and modify the program. And this job is easier as compared to previous two levels of languages. And drawback is that, what are the disadvantages or drawback is that it takes more time to execute and require more memory, and hence it is less efficient. So it requires the more memory, and again it takes time for execution of instructions, as well as it is less efficient. These are the drawbacks of this high level languages. Now let us see the next slide. So next concept is language translator. In general, what is the meaning of a language translator? So it is a conversion from one language to another language. So here, with respect to computer programming, we have three levels of language translator. And what are the purpose of this language translator? And this translator perform the translation of high level language program or assembly level language program into machine level language. So the main function of language translator is to translate the programs which are written in high level language as well as assembly level language into machine level language, because the computer can understand only machine level language, and these assembly level languages and high level languages are only for the convenience of the user or the programmer. So here, even the programs, if you write a program in high level language or assembly level language, it has to be translated to machine level language. There we are using language translator. And here there are three types of translators. One is assembler, compiler, and interpreter. These are three levels of different language translators. Now let us see in the next slide. First, let us see the definition of assembler. What is assembler? So, assembler is a system software. We translate the program written in assembly level language into machine level language. So, it is assembler is a language translator which translates the program written in assembly level language into machine level language. Now, another type of language translator is compiler. What is a compiler? The compiler is a system software that translates the source code written in high level language into object code, which is a machine level language. So, compiler is a translator used to convert or translate the programs written in high level languages into machine level language. And here, the programs in high level languages are called source code, and after conversion, after translation, it generates a machine level language or a code that is called object code. So here this is compiler. Next one is interpreter. Interpreter, it is also a translator and it translates an instructions of high level language into machine level language. But what's the difference between these two? But here in compiler, it compiles or it translates the entire programs at once and generate one object code. But interpreter is not like that. In interpreter, it is going to translate the instructions, first instructions, then executed, then only it goes to the next instruction or instruction 2, then it again is going to translate. So here in interpreter, it translates the program instructions one by one or instructions by instructions. Once the translation of one instruction is completed, then only it goes to or is going to translate the second instruction. That is the difference between these two, compiler and interpreter, and both of them are used to translate the programs from high level languages into machine level languages. So students, in this session we have discussed about the different levels of computer languages. They are machine level languages, assembly level languages, and high level languages with their advantages and disadvantages. And also we have discussed about language translator. They are assembler, compiler, and interpreter. Now let us talk about the function of operating system and user interfaces in my next session. Thank you so much.